Welcome to Design Studio. So here's all my inspiration. I was inspired by the movie Apocalypto, directed by Mel Gibson. And we can see here I'm very much inspired by the jade jewelry and like how everything's encrusted and very carved. And he's got purple on his headdress, the priest right in the front. And there's yellow and there's blue and there's green and there's red and just like there's a whole bunch of colors to be inspired by. But so right now I'm trying to interpret the Mayan culture with their symbols, and these are the glyphs. They're kind of like squarish, but they're roundish, and then you can see some are like really cartoonish interpretations of like footprints and stuff like that. So I try to assemble or simulate those patterns, and then I went on to architecture. Says Neo-Rome, but it's not really Neo-Rome. I saw more Mayan in it. Behind the girl, there's like these glyphs on the wall, and they look like Mayan symbols. So I kind of just try to get the Mayan architecture because it's really futuristic, and that's what inspires me to do the primitive and the futuristic together. And there's not a lot of concept art for Mayan as are Egyptian. This is from the movie Stargate that inspired the series and the whole franchise. You can see his costume is really like gold and sheer, and I really like that. It's futuristic but primitive at the same time, so I'm trying to capture that element. And you can see these costumes, these headdresses, and all like the different shapes of the cutouts on his body are really like futurist. Well, it's architecture. So I mean, this architecture right here is the ship, and you can see how somebody's found the way to translate Egyptian into futuristic. But there isn't really much Mayan. The only thing I find was this. And it's not much, but it does give me a sense of direction. Just like the shapes are consistent with like squares that are rounded and like the lines. So I tried to look for something else I could translate with it. So I found this Tron was really good because it's all just like movement and just a little bit of like turns and stuff. So I took that, and I also took this image right here. This I actually use for one of my concept art boards from my final line, and just look at those lines, how they're smooth but just a little bit of movement. So I tried to keep that consistent. Now I wanted jade, and you can see it's very like matte with just a little bit of sheen. So other ones were really glossy and I found just too fake, so I wanted to use that. And then there's this one where it's gold encrusted, so I tried to put gold on it as well. This is really yellow, so I'm going to try and make it more creamy. So I wanted to make sure that I was researching where it's from. I actually thought the Aztec and Mayan civilizations were one of the same. As you can see in the bottom left, it's South Mexico into the Caribbean. So red is Aztec and green was Mayan. And now you can see the present day map, and it's like Guatemala and Belize. So that's where I use reference for where to get my colors, and I'll see that in a minute. So I looked for Mayan people or Mayan women, and I found this. So she's really good reference for the skin tone, which I'll be using later, and all the colors that are available, because it's very much their culture. So you can see all my colors. So I've done my research, and I want jade, so I want green, so that's representative of vegetation. I'm thinking of yellow because of the sun. Golden, I've actually golden that up with some orange. So green, gold, and yellow. Now you can see my thumbnail. I did a little close up, and you can see around like the hip area, it's very consistent with my Iron Man catsuit, which is to the left or in the middle. And it's still consistent with like squares that are rounded, and it's still got that movement down the body. So I kept that consistent. And because I wanted sheer sections, I'm using this for reference to how sheer I want it. And this is just from ASOS. And that it's not going to be black, it's going to be gold. And it's not going to be like a black sheer, but it's going to be a gold as well. This is the original picture I showed you earlier. Interesting fact, the girl to the left is Sinead Brady. And we actually went to high school together. We were in our graduating class together. And I know we had like English as well. So, yay, precious fame. So this is my picture of the hairstyle I used. I was looking for tropical, and this one really just popped out because nothing says tropical like taking huge flowers and shoving it in your hair. So an important step for me is to make sure that I'm getting all the colors down. So I did some permutations until I figured out which one was right for me. And you can see that's illustrated in the pen. And then I also made sure to look up an appropriate title, and I did some testing on the bottom of the page. So I decided to call it Uchben Hatsutsil Ancient Beauty. So this is my croquis. I'm thinking of doing a video on how to make your own croquis. So I use this, and you can see I'm changed the head direction so that the hair balances out the rest of the body because she's got her arm on her hip. So I wanted to make sure it's all balanced. And this is the finished product, so I hope you stay tuned for the coloring. Thank you for watching. Bye.